Here's the line for race 2 for the Crown Lift Trucks Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge. Craig Baird and Johnny Reid off the front row, Mitch Cunningham and Hugh Gardner from row number 2. Row 3 start for Simon McLennan and Simon Evans, the two 996s. Then we go back to Ant Pedersen and Scott Harrison. And completing the lineup, Daniel Gaunt, who is in Shane McKillen's VNC Cocktails car for race 2. Lined up on the grid, ready to go racing for the Crown Lift Trucks Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge. Craig Baird and Johnny Reid on the front row. Revs build up, wait for the lights to go out. Great start from Hugh Gardner from the second row, and he's going to get to the inside of Johnny Reid, who didn't get a very good getaway at all.
I think you'll find Cunningham will probably slip into third place as well. Even Johnny Reid got all the work to do. Of course, Daniel Gaunt at the very back there, he had changed cars with team owner Shane McKillen. They deemed his car too extensive, had some chassis rail damage, so the good thing about that Triple X team and the strength of it, they had to swap drivers around the different cars and away they go.
Good to see Ant Pedersen back out there in the Mike Morton Outlaws Bar car. A lot of work with that race car after that spin. Sort of took the majority of the Triple X team out. Even Shane McKillen was delayed. I don't think he made any contact with anything. As Johnny Reid's got an inside run here on his international motorsport teammate, Mitch Cunningham.
Yeah, I don't think Mitch will take too much of a battle here because Johnny Reid is in contention for the championship with Craig Baird and Daniel Gaunt. And of course, Mitch is having a blinding season, but he's not quite up there for that championship top honour, so he won't make the battle hard at all. On board with Daniel Gaunt, trying to fight his way back towards the front. That's Scott Harrison just ahead of him. So at the start of the weekend, Gaunt had a 95-point lead and a 118-point lead over Craig Baird. Johnny Reid was second in the points as Gaunt goes to the inside of Scott Harrison for position. Going into the second race of the weekend, Daniel Gaunt now has just a 28-point lead over Johnny Reid, with Craig Baird now within 43 points of the championship lead. It has got that close as Reid goes to the inside of Hugh Gardner for the second position. So again, Hugh's not going to make life hard for these championship contenders. We'll find the same thing with Daniel Gaunt getting a bit further back when he comes up to his teammates. I've got a funny suspicion that they'll probably let the door a little bit wider than it would be if it was one of the international motorsport cars coming through.
And Mitch Cunningham, just a call on race radio, a 5-second penalty for a jump start. I believe that's not for the first time this season for the former Toyota Racing Series champion. So Daniel Gaunt chasing down Ant Pedersen, both with their lights on. Simon McLennan, the first of the 996s. What a championship for Daniel Gaunt. Destroyed a car in testing at the first round at Pukekohe. Dominated the first round with problems for Craig Baird, who had subsequent problems at the next round. Gaunt took control of the championship, was well over 100 points in the lead. How things change in such little time. And it's the fortunes of motorsport. It can be the highest of highs and lowest of lows. And I think you'll find at this point, Jamie, Daniel Gaunt is going through both lots of emotions. So Craig Baird out in front. Johnny Reid in second. So this championship chase looking to tighten up even further. As Daniel Gaunt's going to try and at least get his way towards the top 3. Certainly being helped by the fact that Mitch Cunningham up ahead of him by 2 positions is carrying a 5-second penalty. Yeah, of course, Mitch is currently positioned in 4th place, so that'll drop him right back on corrective time at the moment, back to 9th. Of course, a lot of racing to go, so probably expecting to drop 2 or 3 places by the end of the race. Daniel Gaunt there searching inside the dash for one of the switches, turning something on, don't know what it is. God, look how much handful, he's got hands crossed over. It's probably at least 3/4 of a turn of lock on one of these cars, not a little bit less, but he's certainly trying. Of course, this will be an unfamiliar car to him as well. Cars are very equal when they're made, but there's a few little suspension changes the teams can do, so he would have put his own personal touches on it, but I doubt it's 100% familiar to him as it would have been to his old glove, as they say, which is his old car, which is getting repaired at the moment. So he's chasing down Ant Pedersen. He's got Mitch Cunningham and Hugh Gardner just up ahead. There is Daniel Gaunt, another former Toyota Racing Series champion, 2-time series champion, former winner of the New Zealand Grand Prix. Well, how things change. Headlights on for Ant Pedersen. He's switched camps to the Triple X Motorsport team in preparation for a campaign in the new Australian Carrera Cup Championship. Actually, this is going to be a good battle here. We've got Ant Pedersen coming on a couple of hard charges. Of course, the car right on the screen now, Mitch Cunningham's got that 5-second penalty, but he doesn't have to concede any places. It's just a penalty that's added on to the end of the race once the final results are all tallied up. So he's going to make life as difficult as he can for Ant Pedersen. Good on him too. And of course, you've got Hugh Gardner in there. He knows how to turn it on. Yeah, Hugh Gardner, a reigning 996 series champion. He's won that championship for the last 2 seasons. Stepped up to the 997s at the start of this season. Unfortunately, unfortunately, that car was badly damaged in a testing shunt before the championship even started. Here's Patterson with an inside run on Cunningham. Should make this stick.
Not necessarily, actually, because I think we find that Mitch has got enough lead. There you go, and just coming straight back into the draft.
And that's the thing about Higgins. Yeah. That's the thing about Higgins. If you go in a little bit deep, Patterson's going to go to the inside, though, through Dunlop. That's now, a nice
look
pass.
Look for the crossover. Certainly not over yet again, because now Mitch will have the inside running coming all the way down into turn 1. Now this is going to be battle of the brakes, and who's got the biggest pair?
Mitch Cunningham.
Mitch has.
Yeah, Mitch Cunningham just got him back down off the front straight, but that's helped Daniel Gaunt, and he's now right there with them. Pedersen again crossing over to the inside to the S's.
I think Mitch realised there was probably very little to be gained, because if he did happen to go a little bit further out into the marbles, it's very hard to get back once you get that point of no return.
There's Daniel Gaunt on board, taking that deep dive off the hip and trying to get the slingshot onto the Denny Holmes straight. Again, he's got a fairly big handful going off the exit.
Now, that commentary made about him being an unfamiliar car was absolute nonsense, because his fastest lap of the race is a 69.0. Fastest lap is actually a 68.7 by Craig Beard. So, considering he's in traffic, doing a very good job in an unfamiliar car.
So can Daniel Gaunt get around Mitch Cunningham? Well, he doesn't really need to, but he needs to try and get as many positions as he can. Cunningham carrying that 5-second penalty, which will probably drop him back into the clutches of Scott Harris and Simon Evans, but we've still got halfway left to go here. Fastest laps, Craig Beard, Johnny Reid, just 6/100ths of a second difference. So again, fairly similar lap speed like we saw for the first race of the weekend between Beard and Reid, and I think in race 1, their fastest laps were only 1/1000th of a second different.
It's just so close, isn't it?
So there's Hugh Gardner continuing to hold off Ant Pedersen. So Pedersen on a bit of a move here. The Outlaws bar, Mad Butcher 997. There's Johnny Reid in the Ray Glass boats 997. So Ant Pedersen hasn't made too much ground on Hugh Gardner. He certainly hasn't made an attempt to get by him. Here's Craig Beard. So he's extended over Johnny Reid, certainly at the gap at the line, 2.3 seconds. The reigning Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge champion and the reigning BNT V8 champ, Pedersen now starting to look pretty racy and working on the mirrors of Hugh Gardner for the 3rd position. And in turn, Daniel Gaunt just right up underneath the rear wing of Mitch Cunningham's car, and we're on board with Gaunt. There is Cunningham right ahead through Splash. There's Pedersen down the inside of Gardner. He just got a little bit sideways under brakes on the approach to the hairpin, so a change for 3rd. Pedersen through to the 3rd position.
Daniel Gaunt's got to be a bit careful what he does here, of course, because he needs to get as far in front of him as he can everybody else to consolidate his lead in the championship. But then again, he doesn't want to do anything too silly, because we know these cars have that place in the front, Jamie, where you're having to run the car up anyway and cause the radiator damage. It doesn't cost much to make these cars damage on the radiator, and it's game over. And at this stage, he definitely can't afford to drop another race.
Well, he's going to lose 22 points to Johnny Reid, who's 2nd. Daniel Gaunt is, well, actually, in fact, that won't be the case, because he will effectively be 5th. So an 18-point swing, so the gap is just 10 points for Daniel Gaunt in the championship chase, ahead of Johnny Reid, with Craig Beard looking to close up as well. Cunningham certainly hasn't given up his attentions. He's trying to get around Hugh Gardner now.
And that's because that time penalty gets added, so the further up the field he can get to, and obviously the less damage is going to do, because at the moment if we add the 5 seconds onto his pace, it'll drop him back to 7th place behind Scotty Harrison.
Cunningham down the inside of Gardner.
You're right, he hasn't given up, has he? Not at all.
He dove that down on in there and caught Hugh Gardner napping a little bit, so Mitch Cunningham through to 3rd. And remembering he does have that 5-second penalty, that was a nice calculated pass.
Oh, he probably saw what Ant Pedersen done a couple of laps before and realised, well, if one can do it, I can certainly do it, and he proved everybody right.
Well, that helps Daniel Gaunt, because now he can have a go at Hugh Gardner rather than trying to really risk trying to go around Mitch Cunningham. As Craig Beard completes another lap, last lap of 69.1, Johnny Reid is 68.9, so he was 0.2 of a second quicker on that last lap. The gap, 2.2 seconds.
You just can't help but think Craig Beard that far out is just controlling this race for Johnny Reid. said it time and time again, I'll continue saying it, he doesn't know how to give up, and if Craig Baird does falter in any way, rest assured Johnny Reid will just take that place straight off him.
Well, he was leading in the opening race at Pukekohe, remember, with about 2 laps left to go when a tyre delaminated, and that was game over for that one. So anything can happen. Looking for win number 7 as we're back on board with Gaunt. Mitch Cunningham a little bit sideways off the exit ahead. Hugh Gardner.
Yeah, we get to that stage of the race. Lap 10 of 12, of course. The brakes will be certainly past their best by. The tyres will be nice and hot, so everything will really working against these guys at this point.
Here's Simon Evans. He's back in the front of the 996 class, and he led for the majority of the first race of the weekend, only for Simon McLennan to sneak around him on the last lap. So another good run here for the Banklink team. They replaced a gearbox on Friday night with some dramas, but things look to be back on track here. Simon McLennan's got things relatively under control in that 996 championship, looking for his first championship. Was pipped at the post last season at Taupo at the final round by Hugh Gardner. Simon Evans is a busy young man this weekend. He's also racing in the Suzuki Swift Sport Cup, and you couldn't get more two different race cars if you tried.
He's certainly got, the only similarity is he's got 4 wheels in a cabin.
Front-wheel drive Suzuki Swift, the rear-wheel drive rear-engined Porsche 996 GT3. So Craig Baird looking for the last lap forward. Next time by, he did a 69.3. He's just backed up in the pace. So's Johnny Reid, though, a 69.3 for his last lap. Fastest lap of the race, Craig Baird with a 68.724. Here's Ant Pedersen in the 3rd position, looking for the podium for race 2 of the weekend. And Daniel Gaunt still can't get around Hugh Gardner for that 5th position.
Hugh Gardner's doing a good job here. Batten staying in front of the championship leader at this point. Not being defensive in any way, just driving a natural line. So he's got some good car speed. And with good car speed, Jamie, comes confidence. And once you've got a confident driver in these equipment, it's very hard to beat.
So Craig Baird taking the last lap board. He's got 1 to go, looking for 2 for 2 out of the weekend. And this championship is going to close right up. As we can pick it right now, I think Daniel Gaunt has just a 10-point lead over Johnny Reid, and Craig Baird's going to eke some of those points back. We could see the top 3 covered by no fewer than about 20 points. 22 points if it finishes exactly as it is now. So it is certainly game on. 1 more race this afternoon, another whole round to go yet at Taupo in March. So certainly on for young and old. So Craig Baird looking for 2 for 2. Johnny Reid just, I don't know if he's settled for 2nd, but I don't know that he's got too much for Craig Baird. With the reverse grid finale coming up later on in the weekend. Arguably one of the busiest drivers in the paddock, with double duties with the Crown Lift Trucks Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge and the VNC V8's Craig Baird. He's negotiated that corner a fair few times over many, many years. Craig Baird, 2 out of 2 for the Crown Lift Trucks Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge. Johnny Reid in 2nd. Just waiting for Ant Pedersen to come down to the line to cross in 3rd. Mitch Cunningham crossing the line in 4th, but will be penalised 5 seconds for a jump start ahead of Hugh Gardner and Daniel Gaunt. The championship now covered by just 17 points. Win number 7 for the championship for Craig Baird. Johnny Reid in 2nd, Ant Pedersen 3rd. Mitch Cunningham crossing the line in 4th, but he'll drop down the order with a 5-second penalty. So crossing the line in 4th will be Hugh Gardner ahead of Daniel Gaunt in 5th. The top 3 in the championship now covered by just 17 points. Johnny Reid just 10 points down on Daniel Gaunt.
Beto, mate, congratulations on that Porsche win, but there's only 17 points between 1st, 2nd and 3rd in the championship.
Yeah, it's coming down. It's going to be tight. So, you know, we'll leave here if we could. If we have a good reverse grid race, I've just got to play it a little bit safe. I've probably sort of thrown caution to the wind on the catch-up on the reverse grid races and paid the price for it. But having a good weekend so far, 2 wins, and I just got a good start in that one and just sort of ran away with it. But the next one will be tough, reverse grid race. You know, you got Dan there leading the championship, but the pressure cooker's getting wound up. And Johnny Reid's, you know, he's no fool. He's just going to he'll play a tactical game, and we'll see what happens at the end of Taupo.